Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take the source material, you send us reports, notes, research, and we dive deep.
Yeah, we pull out the key insights, the uh, surprising stuff, the nuggets of knowledge.
Basically giving you that shortcut to getting informed, without drowning in all the info out there.
And today, the source material is pretty interesting. It's a report called Daily Alpha from Z, dated June 12th, 2025.
Right. So think of it as one market watcher, Z, sharing their perspective, what moved things yesterday, what looks interesting now.
And where they see the big opportunities, and importantly, the risks too.
So our mission today, we're basically walking through Z's report, step by step.
Trying to get inside their head a bit, understand the signals they picked up on, the analysis.
See the market through Z's eyes on this particular day. Let's jump right into what Z called smart money movements.
Absolutely. Z kicks things off by tracking, the big players, the smart money or whales, where they put in their capital.
And right away, Z flags some pretty big action on Hyperliquid.
Yeah, Hyperliquid, that's a perpetuals exchange, right?
Yeah.
For trading contracts, often with leverage.
Exactly. And Z notes some major whale deposits there, like $39.28 million in USDC.
And specifically for leveraged positions, that's a hefty sum aimed squarely at making directional bets.
It really is. And connected to that, Z highlights one account on Hyperliquid with just a massive Bitcoin position.
How massive?
$404.4 million worth. Just staggering.
Wow. And Z mentions their entry price.
Or apparently way back at $108,569.
An entry over 108K. That's someone with serious conviction. Or maybe just very deep pockets if the market dipped after.
Definitely a signal Z thought was worth flagging, that kind of size from one account.
For sure. Now, while you've got that huge BTC long on Hyperliquid, Z's report also points to action on Ethereum.
Oh, what's happening now?
A large whale maintaining a pretty big short position, 40,000 ETH.
40,000 ETH. What's that worth?
Z valued it at $111 million.
Okay, so a massive BTC long on one side, massive ETH short on the other. That's quite a contrast.
It is. And Z even gives the liquidation price for that ETH short.
Which is?
$2,938.
Ah, crucial detail. So if ETH hits $29.38, that $111 million short could get wiped out.
Exactly. Z is telling us that level is like a key battleground for at least one very large player.
Okay, so we've got the big whale moves, but Z also mentions some, let's say, less conventional things, something called fart coin.
Yes, that definitely catches the eye. Z notes a new whale wallet was accumulating this token.
Fart coin. Okay, how much are we talking?
A $2.48 million position, they picked up 1.68 million tokens.
Using what?
Apparently used 14,850 SOL to buy them.
Huh. Well, the name's unique, but Z flagging it suggests smart money isn't just playing in Bitcoin and ETH, right?
Precisely. It shows they're also looking at much smaller cap stuff, maybe hunting for those, 100x returns, even with the higher risk.
Makes sense. Even $2.48 million is significant in a small cap context. Okay, so beyond specific whales, Z also looked at broader smart money accumulation.
Right. Tracking net inflows from known smart money wallets over the last 24 hours.
And who led the pack there?
FXS saw the biggest net inflow, about $100 1K, and close behind was Rennet, with $77.07K flowing in.
Run it. I haven't heard much about that one.
Z notes its market cap is only around $2.3 million. So that 77K inflow is actually pretty significant relative to its size.
Good point. It shows smart money is scanning both established tokens like FXS and these low-cap opportunities. Diversified approach.
It seems so. Z also adds that smart money was picking up Venice AI and Bood tokens,
Okay.
and specifically mentions this happened during dips on the base network.
Ah, that's key. Not just buying, but buying the weakness. Tactical accumulation, trying to get better prices.
Exactly. So this whole section in Z's report gives a pretty good feel for how the big players were positioned, Eviction longs, strategic shorts, so small cap speculation, and dip buying.
Definitely paints a picture. Okay, so from flows, Z then shifts to fundamentals, looking at revenue-generating projects.
Yeah, this is a different angle. Which projects are actually earning money, making revenue?
Which is important, right? Because long-term, projects need a real business model, not just hype.
Absolutely. Z lists some established players first. SHFL is one.
And the numbers.
Really strong, actually. $2.5 million in weekly revenue.
Weekly? Wow.
Yeah, and Z projects that out to an annual run rate of $130 million. That's serious cash being generated on chain.
Huge. Who else?
Bluefin, another one related to trading, showing $2.45 million in monthly trading fees.
And that translates to how much actual revenue for them?
Z says about 650K, so very solid.
Okay, and our DAC?
Generating 50-60K biweekly, so every 2 weeks.
And why does Z highlight that one?
Because that revenue is being used for token buybacks continuously.
Right, buybacks. The protocol uses its earnings to buy its own token, reducing supply, potentially good for the price.
Exactly. Z's pointing out revenue that has a clear mechanism to return value to the token holders.
Got it. So those are the established players. What about emerging revenue stars? Newer projects?
Z shines a light there too. Phala on Aptos is one.
Phala. Okay. What's notable?
It just passed the $1 million revenue milestone. And Z notes it's the top protocol by revenue in the entire Aptos ecosystem.
Hitting 7 figures in revenue is a big deal for an emerging project on a newer chain like Aptos. Proof point.
Definitely. And a sister is another one mentioned. We'll probably see its name again.
A sister. Revenue.
Z's report says $160K in its first 6 weeks.
Pretty quick ramp up. Did Z link that to anything?
Yeah, directly to its user base. Notes it had over 4 million testnet users.
Ah, that's interesting. So a huge pre-launch user base seems to be converting into actual paying users post-launch.
Suggests good product market fit, maybe? Something Z seems keen on finding.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've seen money flows, we've seen revenue generation. What's next in Z's report?
Z pivots to looking forward, emerging narratives and top plays, trying to spot the next big themes.
Okay, future gazing time. What narratives did Z flag?
One is AIXDeFi infrastructure, combining artificial intelligence with decentralized finance.
How so? Any examples?
Z notes the Ethereum Foundation is backing something called the Iris agent. It focuses on automated smart contract auditing using AI.
Ethereum Foundation backing is definitely a strong signal for that tech.
For sure. And beyond just auditing, Z mentions multiple AI trading agents launching on Arbitrum.
With institutional backing.
Some reportedly have it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just theory. Real capital is flowing into applying AI to DeFi trading.
Interesting. What other narratives?
Another big one Z sees is cross-chain stablecoin expansion, making stablecoins move easily between blockchains.
Like?
Z highlights Societe Generale, the big French bank, launching a USD stablecoin. Not just on Ethereum, but on Solana, too.
A major TradFi bank launching on both ETH and Solana. That's significant bridge building.
Absolutely. And building on that theme, Z notes Circle is expanding USDC access.
USDC, the second biggest stablecoin.
Right. Using their CCTP v2 protocol, they're bringing it to 21 different blockchains now.
Yeah.
Seamless movement is key for liquidity.
Definitely foundational. Any other major narratives?
The third one Z points out is gaming infrastructure scaling.
Ah, crypto gaming. Still a hot topic.
Yeah, and Z points to real activity demanding better infrastructure. Somni hitting over 1 billion transactions, for example.
1 billion? That's huge volume.
And other gaming platforms reporting hitting milestones like 100,000 plus users. Z is flagging the projects, building the rails for all this activity.
Got it. So how does Z connect these narratives to specific projects, the top narrative plays?
Okay, under established plays, Z mentions virtual protocol again, fits that AI infrastructure theme, especially with its mainnet launch and that foundation backing.
Hyperliquid pops up again too.
Yep. Z highlights its dominance, capturing like 80% of DeFi Perpetual's volume, makes it a key player in trading infrastructure.
And Circle, obviously.
Yeah, Z notes its stock surged 347% after listing. Clearly central to that stablecoin expansion story.
Okay, those are the bigger names. What about small cap opportunities within these themes?
Here, Z flags Resolve. Notes it has $10 million in backing from big VCs like Coinbase Ventures, Maven 11, Cyberfund.
Okay, solid backing. And the market cap?
Only $48 million, according to Z.
That's quite a gap between the VC funding and the current market valuation. Suggests the VCs see a lot more upside.
Exactly. Z is highlighting that potential delta. And a sister shows up again here too.
Right, the one with the 4 million testnet users and $160K revenue.
Yeah, Z lists it for those reasons, plus Google startups backing. It kind of hits multiple themes. Z likes user growth needing infrastructure and emerging revenue.
Okay, comprehensive. Z also had a section on ultra early mentions, things maybe not even trading yet.
Yeah, glimpses of things showing really strong early demand signals. Plasma is one.
Plasma? What happened there?
Z says its $500 million deposit window filled up in just 30 minutes from about 2,900 wallets.
$500 million in half an hour? That's insane demand.
Truly remarkable. Iris, the AI agent, is also listed here.
The one with Ethereum Foundation backing.
That's the one. Z notes its raise had almost 13,000 participants and was, get this, 1925% oversubscribed.
Wow, just extreme early interest.
And Nura has mentioned, too, something about pre-sale boxes being airdropped and a mint coming up soon. Z is clearly watching these for early opportunities based on the hype and demand.
Makes sense. And speaking of demand, Z specifically tracked recent institutional backing, like in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, reinforcing some names we've heard. Resolve again with that $10 million round led by Coinbase Ventures.
Hyperion?
Got strategic investment from OKX Ventures and Marana.
And Paradox.
Secured a pretty substantial $35 million Series A round. Z is pointing out these aren't just rumors, they're concrete deals happening now.
Good context. Okay, shifting gears a bit, Z also tracked TVL movements, total value locked.
Right, a key metric for capital within protocols or chains. Who's growing?
So who are the growth leaders according to Z?
Sonic was highlighted, reaching $792 million in TVL. And nearly $442 million of that was stablecoin specifically.
Resolve again?
Yeah, maintaining a strong $350 million TVL even after its planes campaign ended. And Elixir's DUSD protocol holding at $172 million TVL shows continued use.
Any areas showing contraction, slowing down?
Z did flag blast.
Yeah.
While it's still big, Z noted its 7-day fee growth dropped to 13%.
And Z sees that as?
Suggesting maybe some deteriorating momentum compared to other areas. Fee growth can be a useful leading indicator for actual economic activity.
Interesting metric to watch. Okay, Z also looked ahead. Upcoming events for the next week.
Yeah, very useful section. Highlights several TGE's token generation events when tokens start trading.
Like which ones?
Iris, the AI agent, launching tomorrow. EstateX TGE on June 18th. And A-Wayfinder on June 17th.
Anything special about A-Wayfinder?
Z notes its fully diluted valuation, or FDV, is pretty small at launch, around $2.5 million. That could mean high volatility.
TGEs are often wild rise. What about unlocks? Potential selling pressure?
Z listed a few significant ones. ApeChain has an $11.17 million unlock on June 16th.
Strike.
A bigger one, $17.62 million unlock on June 14th.
And say.
$10.89 million, also on June 14th. Z flags these because, unlocks mean more tokens can potentially hit the market and be sold.
Right. Definitely dates to watch for potential price dips. Lastly, Z covered major macro events.
Yeah, broader context. Mentioned some regulatory progress in the U.S., like the Senate passing the Genius Act for stablecoins and the Clarity Act moving forward.
Slow progress, but signals for the industry's future, maybe.
That seems to be Z's take. Also knows a specific operational thing. Bybit exiting Singapore by June 30th.
Changes the exchange landscape in a key market.
And maybe the biggest near-term thing Z highlights, those altcoin ETF decisions, expected by June 25th.
Ah, yes, the ETFs. Z sees those as a major potential catalyst.
Definitely watching closely.
Okay.
So bringing it all together, Z wraps up with price targets and market analysis.
For the majors, BTC, ETH, SOL.
Yep. Provides targets, support levels, and the reasoning. For Bitcoin, trading around $107,887 then, Z's target was $115,000.
Based on
technicals, like a potential bull flag pattern suggesting more upside. But also fundamentals. Z notes institutional buying was exceeding miner output by 340%.
That's massive buying pressure. What about ETH?
Trading near $2,769, Z targeted $3,000, based on breaking a technical resistance level, support at $2,700.
And the driver there?
Z cited record ETH ETF inflows as a key catalyst pushing it higher.
Makes sense. And SOL.
Around $159, Z targeted $180. Linked it directly to that ETF approval catalyst. Again, support seen a potential spark.
So Z's targets mix the charts with these big fundamental and macro events. So the near-term decision is seen as a potential spark.
So Z's targets mix the charts with these big fundamental and macro events. Did Z give specific trade ideas too?
Yeah, includes examples of best RR trades. RR meaning risk to reward.
Like what kind of setup?
An ETH-SDT long aiming for a 2.5 to 1 risk-reward ratio. So potential gain is 2.5 times the risk. Also listed longs for HYPU-SDT and AVUSDT. Anything else?
Interestingly, also a short idea. SPX 6900 short, seeing maybe climactic conditions in the S&P 500 index.
So Z is looking beyond just crypto too. These trades show how Z translates the analysis into actionable ideas.
Exactly. And finally, Z's report gives some final thoughts. Notes the market was kind of consolidating after a big move earlier in the week.
Advising what?
To watch price reactions carefully around the bottom of that Monday trading range. Sees it as a key indicator.
Okay. And Z's overall assessment for June 12th, the bottom line.
Risk level, high. Market sentiment, cautiously bullish. And the key catalyst, ETF approvals.
High risk, but cautiously bullish, hinging on ETFs. That sums it up well.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? A market with big whale games, real projects earning money, new tech stories bubbling up, institutions definitely showing interest.
But also facing upcoming supply events like unlocks, regulatory shifts, and these absolutely critical ETF decisions. It's complex.
High stakes for sure. But Z clearly sees reasons for that cautious optimism anchored by those potential ETF catalysts.
Wow, yeah. Z's report is incredibly dense, a real snapshot through their specific data-heavy lens for June 12th. We've seen the signals Z tracks
From whale wallets to project revenue,
to emerging tech narratives and those big macro factors. It's all tangled together in the picture Z paints.
we unpack the demand Z sees, the potential supply shocks, the areas Z thinks could grow, the specific levels.
And given that final assessment from Z high risk, cautiously bullish, all eyes on those altcoin ETFs by June 25th, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, it leaves you with this thought. How might the market really react if those regulatory catalysts, the ETFs, play out differently than Z and maybe the market expects?
Yeah. Especially considering all the specific bets and narratives Z highlighted that seem to be counting on positive outcomes.
Exactly. That's the uncertainty Z was navigating on that day, and it's definitely something for you, the listener, to mull over as you watch things unfold.